Welcome back, fellow Illumineers, to be our guest. We're back for another set review today, and we're doing my favorite color, Team Amethyst. Hashtag Team Amethyst. Don't give me that look. Get out of here. Best ink color, period.
Best ink color? No.
Ask the Forbidden Mountains. Ask Dan.
No.
He agrees. Dan, I'm putting you on the spot here.
Dan, I watched
Amethyst, that, buddy. Team Amethyst.
I watched that collab, but no. You are both horribly wrong.
So shout out, by the way, to the Forbidden Mountains. They were gracious enough. Dan was gracious enough to have me on their show talking about Team Amethyst and why it is the best ink color. So needless to say, I'm going to have a lot to say here today about how it's just all A+, tied for A+ off the entire ink color. All right, so let's get into it. Brief recap: if you haven't seen our Amber video, please check it out. We reviewed Amber already, but suffice to say, at the end of the video, you'll see all of the cards ranked A, B, C, D, F. But in the video, we're going to get a little bit more specific than that. So what are our rankings referring to? So when you're thinking about A+, I want you to think best card in the color. Like just hands down best card. A is just complete bomb. Maybe not best card in the color, but an absolute bomb. A- is, it may not be a massive bomb, but it's an auto 4 times in any deck. B+ is going to be an auto include in some number or a niche bomb. So it's a bomb, but it's only a bomb in like one type of deck, right? B is you're going to include 4 times in most of your decks. B- is include in most decks in some number, and maybe 1 or 2 decks might have 4 times in there. C+ is it's your last few inclusions, the last ones that you're kind of happy about, right? So C+ is kind of the last happy tier. C is we're fine, you know, we got it in there. Maybe we're not particularly happy about it, but include it if we must. C- is we try not to include this. We're not happy about it, but maybe it fills a particular need of this deck, and it's just kind of we have to have it in there. D is try not to include it, like just don't include it. And then F is pretty much like D, but like run away, scared, like do not touch this with a 10-foot pole. All right? So ultimately, we'll boil it down to a little bit simpler terms at the end, but that's kind of the tiers that we're going through these. All right. With that in mind, let's start. All right. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, first one we've got, which I've already had a contentious opinion about on Twitter, is Anna, Heir to Arendelle, 4-cost inkable, 2/4, 2 willpower, ability Loving Heart. When you play this character, if you have a character named Elsa in play, choose an opposing character. The chosen character doesn't ready at the start of their next turn. Patrick, where do you have her?
I have it at a C-.
Okay. Tell me why.
So it's very niche in the sense where you compare it with Ruby, because I believe Ruby has an Elsa, and you compare it with Sapphire. But I mean, that ability is not great because it's a 2-card combo that you might not even draw into.
Yeah.
And then for a 4-cost 2/4/2, there's better. There's
much better.
There's better options out there for 4.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I have her at C. I agree. Yeah, I'm pretty close there.
Cool.
All
right. So we have Archimedes. He is a 1-cost inkable for a 2/2/1 lore. This is the Amethyst version of the vanilla.
Yeah. So first of all, let me just say that I love that Archimedes is in the set, that we've got Sword in the Stone characters at all. But you're going to see this consistently across the rest of the colors. Is these 1-cost 2/2/1s. I've got at C, other than Stitch New Dog, which we mentioned in Amber. Just because I think that there is a place for them. I think that you need to make sure that your deck can handle the early game. And if you don't have another way to do that, then this is a reasonable inclusion there. But I'm certainly not loving it.
I agree. I'm at a C for Archimedes.
Okay. All right. Now we got the one I like to call Daddy Facilier. Dr. Facilier, Agent Provocateur. 7-cost uninkable. 4/5, 3 lore, shift 5, and the ability, Into the Shadows. Whenever one of your other characters is banished in a challenge, you may return that card to your hand. Whew.
Oh, A, 100% A. This is
Okay.
this is a bomb. It's not it was almost my A plus, except there is one card that is obviously the best in the color.
Thank
It's
you.
been the best in the color since it was very first revealed. But this is so close. This
Wait.
is so good.
You okay? I'm sensing from that it was not recently revealed, so I'm really curious to see what your A plus is. I have this at A minus, so I'm not far off.
I know what your A plus is then. Okay, if it's
I'm not far
that,
off. I'm at A minus. Yep,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think he's definitely great.
Whenever it's a challenge, so you can just run your stuff into it and get it back into your hand, absolutely, I'll do it.
The problem is it's slow, right?
It is.
So
it's
very powerful. Like, look at how many people were including the Mickey Mouse Broom combo for that effect in one character, whereas this is in all your characters, but it is slow.
But I mean, if I'm pairing it with Emerald, I drop Genie, bounce, run Genie back in, play Genie, bounce.
Oh my gosh,
right?
Don't even. Don't even. Oh my gosh.
So good.
If they don't have removal for Facilier, if you're doing that stuff with Genie, that would be disgusting. All right. Who we got next?
All right, so we've got Baby Facilier this time. So it's Dr. Facilier, 2-cost Inkable for 041. Challenger 2. So whenever he does the challenging, he does get 2. Yeah.
For anyone listening at home and not watching, +2 strength, right?
Yes, +2 strength. Sorry.
And it's Dr. Facilier Charlatan. Did you not want to pronounce it again?
I can pronounce Charlatan.
Okay.
I just call him Baby Facilier now.
Yeah, he is Baby Facilier. So I've got this one at C-. I'm never happy having this in a deck. And I know James from the Lore Masters is going to disagree because he's been the great defender of Dr. Facilier for so long. But a 0 strength just kills me in anything. I'm sorry, what are you hoping for? That this takes out 1-cost 2/2 and then dies on the backswing? Like, what's your best case scenario on here? The fact that he doesn't die immediately to 1 attack, dealing 0 damage in the process? I think at best, he is either questing for 1 or challenging once, and then basically eating 2 challenges on the way back. So distracting, if you will, 2 of the opponent's characters. Maybe that's why he's the charlatan. He's distracting people so that they waste time on him. Please don't play him. Please don't play him just because you want to shift Daddy Facilier. It's not worth it.
That's the only reason I have him at a C, is because you can shift him into Daddy Facilier.
Not worth it.
Debatable. He's also inkable, so you can just drop him as Inkor too. So debatable. I have him at a C.
Dr. Facilier, Remarkable Gentleman. 3-cost, inkable, 2/4, 1 lore. Ooh. He has the ability Dreams Made Real. Whenever you play a song, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them on the top of your deck, and the other on the bottom.
I have him at a C-. Very, very niche in a song deck only, because otherwise you're just paying 3 lore for a 2/4/1, which, okay.
Yep. What's there, 1 song in Amethyst right now?
Yes.
Only 1 song that I care about, but I'm pretty sure just the 1.
Yes.
Right? So how many times is this actually getting off? This is like a worse Ursula's
Yeah, it's a worse Ursula's Cauldron.
Yeah.
It's because it's only for spawns.
I have him at C because I think he's slightly more usable at 1 more cost than Baby Facilier, but yeah. All right. What do we got next?
We have Elsa Queen Regent, 4-cost, inkable, 4/4, and 1 lore. Very vanilla.
Very vanilla. I mean, this is like the height of fine, right? Like, I am not getting excited in this in the least. I'm not necessarily happy about it, but it's fine. I've got it at a C. I think probably the only reason to include this in this deck is that it's a passable shift target for Spirit of Winter, for Elsa Spirit of Winter. But leave this one alone. Just be satisfied. To admire the art. That's what you can do with this card. Look at the art.
The art is quite nice.
That's some nice art. And move along.
Nice. Yeah, I also have her at a C. I just don't see a lot of use.
Yeah. All right. We've got Elsa Snow Queen, 3-cost inkable, 2/3, 1 lore with the ability Freeze. Exert, And you can exert chosen opposing character. So you exert her to exert an opposing character of your choice.
C+. I have her at a C+.
Okay.
Because you're exposing her just to exert, right? So another character can easily take her out with the 3 willpower. Right. Vulnerable to dark damage like Smash as well.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So I've got her at B-, which I think is close enough for sake. But since you didn't have much to say, I'll give one little argument, which is she's very unique in her ability. Right? There's not too many ways to get through to someone that the opponent refuses to exert that you need to get in and deal with. For example, Stitch Rockstar, which we talked about in the Amber build there. And combined with Rush, she can be really, really impactful, and she can potentially lock you out of the game. If you're in top deck mode and you've got enough Rush characters, especially if you've got like Pocket Watch and you've got unlimited Rush characters as long as you keep drawing characters, you can effectively lock your opponent out of the game. And she's the cheapest shift target for Spirit of Winter.
That's fair.
All right. Speaking of which,
hit me, Daddy. Elsa, Spirit of Winter, 8 cost, uninkable, 4 strength, 6 willpower, 3 lore, shift 6. Also has deep freeze. When you play this character, exert up to 2 chosen characters. They cannot ready at the start of their next turn.
I mean,
I'm going to assume this is going to be your A+.
This is my A+.
Yeah,
Yes.
I figured. I have her in A. We're not far off. I have her in an A.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you didn't think she was the best card in the color, then A is as good as you can get, right?
Yep.
So I'll accept that. Undoubtedly, for me, she's the most impressive card in Amethyst. And I think you're going to make an argument for a card that actually on the Forbidden Mountain podcast, I think I argued was the best card in the set. I went for most powerful here, whereas I think that one's the best value. This one I went for most powerful. So let me walk you down the road that is Spirit of Winter here. First of all, I think it's going to be the biggest chase card in the first chapter. Between the art, which is incredible, especially those eyes and the icicles, between the fact that it's frozen, that it's Elsa, between the fact that she has such a, again, unique and impactful ability, the fact that you can lock down 2 characters regardless of if they're exerted or not, you get to exert them and lock them down. So they're big lore batteries to potentially keep them from winning the game. They're big challengers if you're trying to win the game with lore and they've got 2 big bodies on the other side, or any combination thereof, right? She is uninkable, so that's the one thing that I'll give you, detracts away from her, but she's just so potent that just doesn't really matter for me. There's a few cards that just excel way beyond that uninkable aspect. Her power level is just so kind of just catastrophic to the opponent. On top of that, you've got a pretty solid body in a 4/6 with 3 lore, which can probably survive, especially if you're locking down their 2 best characters. Can probably survive a turn, so you're probably getting 6 lore out of her. Yeah, I just think that she's too good, especially if you can chain into multiples. There's a couple characters that chaining them into multiples just absolutely makes your opponent flip the table over in rage. We'll go into mine in Emerald, my Bane, but Elsa is absolutely one of those.
So when we start cracking packs, are you claiming the foil version of this Elsa then?
I think this might be. My dibs.
Okay. Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I figured this one would be.
I'm pretty sure, since Amethyst is my favorite color, and I'm not nearly as big of a Frozen fan as you are, Beauty and the Beast, but yeah, she's awesome.
Okay.
All right. Next we've got, let me go back to my ones here. Oh, we were kind of dipping down here after that high. We've got Flotsam Ursula's Spy, 5 cost uninkable. 3/4, 2 lore. With the rush ability, this character can challenge the turn they're played, and the ability Dexterous Lunge. Your character's named Jetsam gain rush.
Oh, I have this at a D.
I don't think I'm that hard, but that harsh on it. But yeah, it's pretty bad, eh?
It's uninkable, right? I mean, the 2 lore is fine, but it relies.
Like the second ability, you pretty much have to discount the likelihood that you're going to get Flotsam and Jetsam out in an order that even makes sense to this, because Jetsam's cheaper. Basically, it's 5 cost uninkable, 3/4 rush, which is
Correct.
awful. Yeah.
Correct.
You know what? I put this at a C, but I think I agree with you. I think it might be a D.
Yeah, it's not great.
All right. Speaking of which, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. So we've got the next card we have is Jafar, Keeper of Secrets. 4 cost, inkable, 0 strength, 5 willpower. Hidden Wonders. This character gains +1 strength for each card in your hand, and it's also 2 lore.
So I'll admit I might not be being fair with this, but this card gets a downgrade for me based on its rarity. The fact that this is a rare and their other Jafar is not, why? This is a D for me. Like, unless you're holding a bunch of cards, which means you're not using those cards, then this is probably going to be less impactful than Jafar, Wicked Sorcerer. In the early game, once you get him out, sure, maybe he's got, a few power. Great. He's still not going to throw down as much as Jafar, Wicked Sorcerer. And in the later game, if you're in top deck mode, he could be 0 or 1 power. Unless you're drawing an obscene amount of cards, he's not going to be even passable. And everyone's talking about, like, combining him with a whole new world. Combining a 2-card combo to make him marginally better than a common, to give him 7 power, is like, no. Please don't pursue him. Don't bother with him. If you open with him, see if you can find a sucker and get rid of him.
I wholeheartedly disagree. I have him at a B-.
God! What?
Amethyst, and you should know this, being your favorite color, is all about card draw.
Sure.
You will always have cards in your hand.
No. False.
No.
And when I do, even with Amethyst, even going hardcore into draw, usually at most I had like 3 to 4 cards in my hand. In which case, again, I'd probably rather Wicked Sorcerer.
Oh, it's a 4/5/2 lore.
The 2 lore, sure, but at that point, again, no.
No.
You're thinking of the best case scenario for him, and that's not going to happen most of the time.
Amethyst is card draw.
Don't listen to him, folks.
Listen to me. I'm the voice of reason here.
All right, let's talk about a card that I still don't like, but is the better Jafar, which is 4-cost inkable. Oh, Jafar, Wicked Sorcerer. I've been saying his name several times. 4-cost inkable, 2/5, Challenger +3 with 1 lore.
I have him at a C.
Go on.
He's arguably worse than Keeper of Secrets. Right?
I disagree, but I still have him at a C.
you challenge him,
yeah,
or you challenge with him. Sure, you knock something out, and then on the counter, you're only doing 2 back.
Yeah,
and you've
already one of the easiest to trade up. Yes, I use easy very loosely because I don't think you're going to trade up with him often, but I think he's the easier to trade up with. I think more often than not, you're taking out like a 3 willpower character, and then he's dying on the backswing, and you're hoping that he has taken out the other character, or that he's dealing.
Yeah, he's dying on the backswing. Yeah. Whereas Keeper of Secrets
is also dying on the backswing and probably dealing 0 damage because you have no cards in hand.
But then why would you challenge if you're dealing 0 damage? False. These are
wouldn't do anything with him. You'd quest, and then he would die.
Allegations. False.
No. But we both have C, so we got that much. All right.
All right. Next is Jetsam, 4-cost, inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower, evasive. And then it's got Sinister Slither. Your character is named Flotsam, gain evasive.
Okay. So Jetsam I have at C+, and not for his second ability. Again, do not count on that. Don't play the Flotsam in your deck, so definitely don't count on it. Hopefully later printings of Flotsam and Jetsam make those more relevant. Yeah. For now, what his saving grace for me is that he deals with Pongo and the Emerald Tinkerbell really effectively. 2/3 evasive specifically. Yeah. He's kind of miserable against...
Peter Pan too.
Well, he deals with them, but then you're trading down, right? I'm much happier when I'm seeing Pongo and Tinkerbell on the other side of the playing field.
Sure.
Unfortunately... The downside to him is that he doesn't match up against really almost any other evasives, and he only has 1 lore, so your opponent can kind of ignore him for a while, and he's not having a huge impact, right?
Right.
So typically, if I'm not playing Ruby Emerald or one of those two colors that I think that they're going to have evasives, usually I'm inking him. But I'm really, really happy to see him when I see Pongo or Tinkerbell.
Yep, I have him at a C for pretty much the same reasons. Definitely worse than Flotsam, but he has his uses.
Yeah. Okay. So then we got Magic Broom Bucket Brigade, 2-cost inkable, 2/2, 1 lore with the ability Sweep. When you play this character, you may shuffle a card from any discard into a player's deck.
C minus. Yep.
Yep.
I mean, just for ink, really, because there's not enough brooms, right? Like Wayward Sorcerer is, that's it, and that's really
There's the one broom so far. There will be more.
Yeah, right, I'm sure there will be more.
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be more, but as it stands right now, it's a C minus.
Yeah. So I think the moral of the story here is, and this won't be the last time you hear it, is don't count on cards that need another card very specifically, one other card, to be remotely playable. And even when you get the two of them off, it's not a huge impact, right? It's not super exciting. It's like, sweet, I can basically get 2 damage in for free a turn. Yeah. Great. That's nothing to write home about. Correct. And then on his own, he's just awful.
Garbage.
So, yeah, I have him at the same rating. All right. Next
is Maleficent, biding her time. 1 cost, uninkable for a 1/1/2.
Yeah. How the Mighty Hath Fallen. For me, this even gets a slight downgrade from Lilo that we reviewed in our Amber set review, because it's got no bodyguard to back her up in the same color, and Amethyst is not the color for the aggro deck. So those two things combined mean that, quite frankly, this should probably be a D, because you just shouldn't play it in an Amethyst deck.
I have it at a C minus because it's still 2 lore for 1, guaranteed.
That's the only reason I've got it at C, but the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, man.
It used to be really good when it was inkable.
I'm glad, again, that I get to announce this one, because this is my favorite card in the set, which is Maleficent Sorceress. 3-cost inkable, 2/2, 1 lore, has the ability Cast My Spell. When you play this character, you may draw a card.
It's an A for me.
You know what's funny? This is my favorite card in the set, and I gave her a B. But go ahead. Why is she an A?
Yeah, it's an A because, again, Amethyst is...
Remember, A is bomb.
Yeah, it's a bomb. It's a card draw. You get 1 extra card. It's card advantage. And guess what? It bumps up Jafar, Keeper of Secrets, which you apparently hate so much.
Yeah.
So
that's why the Jafar Maleficent combo is why.
Yeah, absolutely. They're both villains. You pair it with Hades, Lord of the Underworld. Boom.
There you go.
You're laughing.
You've cracked the metagame.
Yeah, you're laughing. Yeah, no, this is definitely an A for me. I mean, anytime you can card draw, I'm in.
So I'm now in the undesirable position of having to argue against my favorite card in the set. But here we go. So she is not a bomb. The reason I love her so much is because she is just simple, elegant value, right? Just a cheap character, gets a 2/2 body on the board and replaces herself. And then sings Friends on the Other Side really well. She's got a great voice, by the way.
She's a bomb. That makes her a bomb, right?
That does not make her a bomb. That makes her a good value card. Yeah. How am I fighting against my favorite card in the set? But she is not a bomb. She is good value.
100%.
She is absolutely an auto-include. But the thing is, she's not even an auto-include in every deck. There are decks that I could see that would want to go faster or would want cards that have more impact. That her simple value is not going to be good enough. That might be too slow, for example. So I'm not going to assume that every single person should include this as a 4 of in their deck, or it'd be a B+. But I think most of you should include this as a 4 of in your Amethyst decks. All right, now that miserable task is over and that I did not anticipate, what do we got next?
We got a 6-cost uninkable. Marshmallow is a 5/5. Durable. When this character is banished in a challenge, you may return this card to your hand. 1 lore.
Yeah, it's a C.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, it's a shame because I love that they include Marshmallow in the set. He does potentially provide lots of value, but he's just so slow.
It's
I
two
mean,
turns.
your
Oh,
ideal situation is he trades with a 5 willpower character every turn, but even in that situation, your opponent either plays something bigger or goes too wide for you to keep up with, and even if you do manage to just keep up with them, and it means you won't run out of resources, you will run out of time. Eventually, the dynamic will shift, and you're stuck just playing a 5/5/1 lore every turn. If he had 2 lore, it would be a world of difference. I know that's not a hot take to say cards would be better if they had more lore, but the difference between 1 and 2 lore for me is such a substantial gap, and much more than the difference between 2 and 3 lore. Because as soon as you get to 2 lore, it demands attention. They can't just leave it alone when it's producing 2 lore a turn. So if you were forcing them to challenge him every turn and he's producing 2 lore, so you can be proactive, he'd be great. But he's not. And he's uninkable. Again, yep. Insult. Alright, I'm glad you agree.
I do.
I think we're going to agree on this one too, which is Mickey Mouse Wayward Sorcerer. Incredible art. 4 cost inkable, 3/4, 2 lore. Animate Broom is the first ability. You may pay 1 less ink to play Broom characters. And Ceaseless Worker is his second ability. Whenever one of your Broom characters is banished in a challenge, you may return that card to your hand.
C- for right now.
For right now, I like that. I'm exactly the same. C-.
Yeah.
For me, it passes the Maleficent Sinister Visitor test. We're going to start calling it just the Sinister Visitor test. It's better stat-wise than some of its compatriots. It's the same as Sinister Visitor with a bonus, but the bonus relies on a card you shouldn't want in your deck. Correct. And on a card you can't guarantee you're going to draw all the time. So most of the time it's Sinister Visitor, which is a C- for me.
Yep. Okay, next
on to more exciting cards.
Yeah, right. Olaf, one drop or 1 cost, and he is inkable. So it's a 1/3/1 vanilla.
Yeah, breaks my heart, but this is a D.
Yep, absolutely.
Maybe include him in an Amethyst Amber Rockstar build, but
not even.
You're right. Even then, I told you I love 1 costs in a Rockstar build, but even then that's dicey. He just doesn't do anything other than stick around for 1 more turn than his fellow 2/2s. But he doesn't do anything in the process. Yeah, leave him alone. Leave him alone. Yep. Put him in your Frozen decks if you want to have fun, knowing that you can play Olaf, but you're going to lose.
Correct. It's not a competitive card.
All right. Pascal Rapunzel's Companion. 1 cost, inkable, 1/1/1 lore, with the ability Camouflage. While you have another character in play, this character gains evasive. Only characters with evasive can challenge them.
I have him at a C.
Yeah. Walk me through it.
Before everything got spoiled and released, definitely higher. But there's just way too much evasive now. So like a 1/1 evasive is not going to do anything when like you even have a Pongo, you have a Peter Pan, right? Like you've got much better evasive options. And he's not even evasive. He needs another character to be evasive. So yeah, it's a good sure. If you're playing a deck with no evasive, then yeah, you can sneak 1 lore in every turn, right? But
so funny that you have it at C, because I put it at C+, and I have a big spiel here, but at the very end, I said, let's be honest, this should probably be a C. Which is funny, because prior to Giant Fairy and Grab Your Sword coming out, this probably would have gotten like an A-. Yeah. It was just so good at the time and so efficient. Yeah. But yes, since that time, all the area of effect damage and removal, all the extra evasives that have been revealed since then, it just loses to everything. And to your point, it doesn't have evasive purely. And so there's been times where you get blown out, where you quest with it on turn 2 because you dropped a 2-drop and you figure it's got evasive, and they use, fire the cannons on your 2-drop, and then are able to attack it freely. So yeah, it's a C. You're right.
Yep. Moving on, we have a 3 cost, a non-inkable Rafiki Mysterious Sage. for a 3/3/1. It is rush, so he can challenge the turn that they're played. Again, they can only challenge and rush. I had this argument on Reddit where they thought they could sing as well. I'm like, no, it just says challenge, so that's all it can do. So that's Rafiki.
So I'll be honest. When this came out, I want to be very transparent about where I'm wrong. I was pretty down on this. I thought uninkable for this effect. I'm like, I like the card, but it's uninkable. But I'll be honest, he's actually proven to be a valuable use to that spot. I've got him at. I got to remind myself here. I've got him at B-. And so I don't think he absolutely doesn't belong in every deck, but I think he belongs in a good number of decks. And I think the decks that you've got him in, you're going to be happy to have him. The fact of the matter is, he surprises pretty much every 1 and 2 drop in the game, while leaving himself in play. So you get that initial card parity, and then usually even turn 3 or 4, he's probably still trading with most other characters. So you're very often, maybe not very often, but you're often enough that you're happy. You're often enough getting a 2 for 1.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I've taken 2 in a lot of decks, actually playing him before Maleficent Sorceress. So I'm no longer playing Sorceress on turn 2 or on turn 3. I'm playing Rafiki, taking out one of their 1 or 2 drops, and then assuming he doesn't challenge back and give me that 2 for 1 off their early play characters, I'm singing Friends on the Other Side with him. And again, turn 3 or 4, I'm probably still only exposing him to a trade. I'm probably still not exposing him to a favorable challenge. And I'm able to sing Friends on the Other Side. So I think that he's proven useful in a lot of circumstances.
Yep, I agree. I also have him at a B-. He's surprised me as well, and I was already high on him when it first came out. But
all right, time for hashtag Trash Deer.
False.
Sven, official ice deliverer, 6 cost inkable, 5/7, 1 lore, vanilla.
A+. A+. A+ all day.
Just to piss me off.
A+. No, this is an F. Get him out of here.
I mean, I put him a D. I don't think you run away from him. He's still a body.
Get him out of here.
For me, I reserve Fs for like the really low impact action cards. Compare this to like the steel and sapphire bodies that we've got. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. 1 lore is just garbage for a 6-drop.
Like, I don't even love King Triton, but he's playable, and he just wipes the floor with Sven.
Yeah.
All right. You get to announce a
all right. So this is the Queen,
one here.
Wicked and Vain. I love the art. So it's 5 cost inkable for a 4 strength 5 willpower. 1 lore. I summon thee, exert, and draw a card.
Okay, so I'm prepared to be called a little conservative on this, but I have her at a B+. And I'll tell you why. It's because I wouldn't qualify her as a bomb, but I qualify her as such good value that you're going to want her in every deck. Remember, I've got A for auto-include 4 times in every deck or bombs. And I don't think she categorizes as either because she is a little slow. But the fact of the matter is, you're more than happy with that most of the time because she's going to get such good value. Because she's almost always, I mean, yeah, they're going to have times where they've got, Dragonfire or something, but you're still just getting a 1 for 1 and same ink cost, so you're not really at a disadvantage there. And they had to put an uninkable card in their deck to fight that off, and yours is inkable. But most of the time, you're going to get at least a card out of her, and she's probably going to trade or at least do substantial enough damage on being challenged that it'll be easy for you to get rid of whatever took her down. And more often than not, you're going to put her out in a position. You're probably not going to play her turn 5 unless you've got a relatively clear board. So you're going to hold on to her for a little bit and play her turn 7, 8, 9 when you've got something to back her up to make sure that she's probably going to survive the next turn unless they've got some rush characters. So you're probably going to get 3 for 1 out of her at that point. I don't think she's an auto-include 4 times in every deck. I don't think she's a bomb, but I think she's amazing.
She is 100% an A. For the very simple reason you mentioned. You play her in turn 7, 8, 9 during the late game. And what does that buff? Oh, Keeper of Secrets. Oh, look at that! Keeper of
Your lens now for all of Amethyst is, does this make Keeper of Secrets playable?
I'm just saying, Jafar is an A for a reason. This lends to its credibility, right? You're drawing cards late game, where it's very viable. So yeah, I actually put it in an A. I think it's an auto include, just a card draw. It's what Amethyst is.
I mean, I'm not gonna fight that hard. She's great. So we've got the wardrobe, Belle's Confidant, 3-cost inkable, 3/4, 1 lore. Obviously, we got many of these in different colors.
It's a D.
Yeah, I mean, I know how you feel about the vanillas already.
Yeah, it's a D. I mean, before the set reveals, this was absolutely a favorite to sing Friends on the Other Side because it was perfect for it. You could exert it. It could probably live through, a challenge. But with everything else now that's been revealed and known, it's a D.
So I'm going to compare this again to the Sinister Visitor test, which is, if it's equivalent to Sinister Visitor, it's a C-, because that's what that gets. And I think this equates relatively evenly to it. It costs 1 less and 1 less lore, which I think 1 lore is worth 1 ink, is a pretty solid equivalent. So I've got this at a C-.
Okay, not far off.
All right, who do we got next?
Right, so we have Tinkerbell, Peter Pan's ally, for a 5-cost non-inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower, 2 lore. It's evasive, and then low on the voted. Your character is named Peter Pan, gain Challenger +1.
Yeah, she's a D for me.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. I hate giving any Tinkerbell a D, but she misses the mark. I mean, come on. First of all, she's uninkable, so she's really got to earn her spot a lot more than inkable cards. Then she's a 5-cost 3/3/1 evasive, so she's got the same body as Jetsam, but 1 more cost and uninkable.
Yep.
For what? To maybe buff a Peter Pan? If you're in that particular color combination, you should never be playing the ruby one. So really, the only color combination is Emerald Amethyst. And so you've got 4 cards in the deck that might get +1 strength. No.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah.
Maybe Steel for Tinkerbell. And Emerald and Steel, but Steel predominantly for Tinkerbell. Yeah. She's a dud.
Absolutely.
All right. This one hurts my heart. Ursula, Power Hungry, 7-cost uninkable, 2/8, a 2/8 body, 3 lore, with the ability It's Too Easy. When you play this character, each opponent loses 1 lore. You may draw a card for each 1 lore lost this way.
I have her at a B+.
So you're multiplayer then? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, pretty much, but it's also buffing Keeper of Secrets.
Buy 1 for 7-cost uninkable.
It's still buffing Keeper of Secrets.
No, dude. In a 1v1? Come on.
In a 1v1, no. In a 1v1, it's like a D.
We're doing 1v1. This is a 1v1 set review. This is not multiplayer.
I'm reviewing this color based on if it buffs Keeper of Secrets.
All right.
So far,
your entire Amethyst ethos revolves around Keeper of Secrets.
Absolutely. No, I mean, in all fairness, it is a D. There's just not much use for her.
So I've got her at a C. I think for multiplayer she's an A+. I think she's the best card in the set for multiplayer.
Absolutely.
Especially if we're talking like 4-player. I usually consider multiplayer to be 4-player.
Yeah.
In 1v1, she's understated. She's uninkable. I mean, compare her to Carefree Surfer, right? 7-cost uninkable, 4/8, 2 lore, yes, not 3, but 4/8, 7-cost inkable. And your decent chances to draw 2 cards versus definitively drawing 1 card.
And if you want your opponent in a 1v1 to lose 1 lore, there's easier ways.
It's much easier than 7-cost uninkable.
Tangled, Rapunzel, right?
I mean, don't play Tangled, but yes.
I mean,
all right.
Maybe.
What do we got next? Let's keep it going.
So I've got Yzma, Alchemist.
Yep.
It's 2 cost inkable for a 2/2/1. And whenever this character quests, you can look at the top card of your deck, put it on either the top or the bottom of your deck.
Yeah. So I've got her at a C, but I don't know. She's a tough one to rank for me. She's probably one of the ones that I struggle with the most because in an ideal world, you wouldn't want to include her. She's a 2/2 body for 2. But card filtering although probably not enough to get her to a point where I'm happy to play her, it is relevant, right? In a game where you might be fishing for your inkables, or you're definitely fishing for your bombs. Impactful 2-drop characters are hard to come by. So kind of out of necessity, I have her at C because I don't really like the 2-cost 2-drops in Amethyst all that much. I hope by set 2 she becomes an easy D or F for me. I personally think I'm replacing her with Ursula's Cauldron.
You are 100%.
But
absolutely,
I still think that there's a place for her.
I have her as a C minus.
Okay, so not far.
Yeah, we're not far off. Yeah, I think with all the new cards, especially Ursula's Cauldron, she becomes redundant.
Yeah.
You might as well just remove her R and just put ink.
All right, the next card we've got is the same power as Jafar, Keeper of Secrets. Same strength, sorry. Like all the time. I'm not talking about just on the card. Which is a 4-cost uninkable. Sorry, Zeus, God of Lightning. 4-cost uninkable, 0/4, 2 lore, rush, and challenger +4.
I hovered between C minus and D, but it's a D. The only reason why I would ever consider C minus is because you get to trade a 4/4. Like you because it's rush, you can just put them out, just banish a 4 willpower thing and call it a day. So essentially, it's like a what to me.
Yeah,
it's a 1 less cost. Let it go that you don't get the ink for, right? Like
it's not even that. It's not even that. Come
on.
That was a generous comparison.
It's a little bit like that. No, so, like it's a D.
So here's my thing with Zeus is, if you tried to give me the argument that treat him as like a 4 damage removal spell, but you can't because he doesn't hit evasive. As it is, he's a 4-drop uninkable that you hope trades with a 4/4. What else are you hoping for? What else has 4 willpower that you're hoping this trades up to all that much? No, you take out probably a 3/3 and hope you've cleared their board and they've got no other answer for him. But more often than not, you don't. And if you're trying to play catch up, he is awful. Just patently awful. Yeah, I had him at a C minus, but yeah, he's probably a D. All right, next card, sir.
We have a 1-cost inkable action, Befuddle. Return character or item with cost 2 or less to their player's hand.
F.
Yep, it's an F.
He might be a combo piece later. It's not now. It's an F.
It's not it. Just yeah. Move on.
This one I'm struggling with. So we'll see where we come on this one. Is Freeze, 2-cost uninkable action card, says exert chosen opposing character.
I have it at a C, which is probably generous, but I'm also comboing it with Rafiki and or Zeus.
Yeah. See, I actually have it higher, which is funny.
No, really?
Yeah, I've got it as C+. And the only reason being is the element of surprise.
Yep.
Right? Like Elsa's Snow Queen, right? Is the 2/3? Yep. Elsa is very, like, you're absolutely screaming what you plan to do with her. And she is fragile. 3 willpower is something, but it's not great. Whereas they can't do anything about this, right?
Correct.
They can't avoid this. But it's one use, right? And I hate one-use action cards that don't have a big impact, especially when it's still going to require you to use a character to do something about that. Maybe you lose yours in the process, right? So you might be 2-for-1ing yourself. But I do think that the element of surprise could lead to some interesting things. So maybe I'm being too generous, but I got it at C+. Okay. All right, now I think we might have your A+ here, sir. Would you like to introduce it? I'm going to let you talk about it since.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a 3-cost.
Yep.
Inkable. Friends on the other side. Draw 2 cards. Self-explanatory.
It's a song. It's an action song specifically. That's an important part of why this is so good. And this is an F for you, right, sir?
It is indeed. Just don't include it. No, this is my A+ of this color. clearly. Because again, Amethyst draws cards. And you know what it does? It buffs Keeper of Secrets.
The only reason. It reads give Keeper of Secrets +2.
+2.
Plus
Yeah,
2
permanently. Yeah, permanently. Yeah. No. So it's fantastic. Can't say anything bad about it. Card draw is always going to be good. It's cheap as well, and towards the end, if you don't need the card draw, you can always drop it for ink. So it's very versatile in that sense. And
Stop slapping your table.
I've played a lot of.
Sounds like you're playing the drums.
Oh my god! I've played a lot of games where I've run into opponents who actually ink this, and I just laugh. I just laugh when they do.
The thing is, that is one of the things that makes it even better, is because in a pinch, you at least have that option, right? You'd never want to. It breaks my heart every time I have to do it, and I don't do it very often. But you've got the choice, which is the big difference, right? Like Spirit of Winter, I never want to ink Elsa's Spirit of Winter, but I would rather have the choice.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right? If I'm desperate and I could put her down as ink, you bet I would. The fact that it's a song too, right? The fact that you can potentially sing this for free is ridiculous. It just feels so good when you can sing with a Rafiki that you've already gotten value out of, with a Maleficent Sorceress that you've already gotten value out of, and you can sing. Forget about it.
So good.
I have it at what? A-. I've got it at, because I don't consider something that's just great value a bomb, but I do consider it an automatic 4 times in any deck that has Amethyst. Put it in.
Yep.
And if you're trying to run a monocolored deck, put this in as your second color. Even if it's the only card in your second color, put this in.
Yeah, it's so good.
That might be actually the only card in the game that I would say that for.
Just
if you're trying to run monocolored, put this in as your second color. 4 out.
Just splash it. Yeah.
All right. Well, my turn to introduce an amazing follow-up to that. Reflection. 1-cost inkable action song. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Put them back on the top of your deck in any order. Friends on the other side, this is not.
Absolutely not.
So there is another song. We were like, there is another song?
Yeah.
No, there's not another song. Everyone at home, there is only one song in Amethyst. Pretend that this doesn't exist. This is an F.
Yeah, this is 100%.
I don't need you to tell me this is an F, Patrick. It's an F.
It's an F. Yeah, no, I agree.
It's a great song. It's a great song. It deserved better.
Yeah, the effect is just not good.
All right. Let's introduce the real star of the show.
Yeah, Magic Mirror, 2-cost non-inkable. Exert and pay 4 mana or 4 ink. Draw a card.
Sorry to you Magic Mirror stands out there, but this card is too damn slow. Yeah, the fact that it's going to take you 6 ink before you've replaced itself, and 10 ink before it's gotten you any value. I'm sorry, but are you kidding me? Beast Mirror is absolutely the superior mirror, and it's not even close. If you need to know why, go into our Amethyst Steel mid-range deck tech series. I'll rant about it. I ranted about it months ago, and I will rant about it now. It is a dead card to me.
I have it at a D. It's not a full F, but it's pretty close.
Oh yeah, I have it at a D. Ursula's Cauldron, 2-cost uninkable item, has the ability Peer into the Depths, exert it to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one on the top of your deck and the other on the bottom.
Easy, eh?
Really? Okay, I like it a lot, but I don't know if I don't have it that high. No.
Easy, eh?
Okay. I've ranted about why this is so good, but tell me why it's an A. Why it's a bomb, Patrick. That is a bomb.
It's a bomb because you know exactly what you're drawing every single turn that you play.
I mean, out of 2 options.
Right, but you still know what's coming, so you can plan for it. Right?
I mean, that's true.
It's not a top deck because you know what's coming, and if you need ink, then you put the ink on top. If you need a character,
and you know when you're gonna be, you can give up 1 turn early. Because you know that you're not drawing what you need to draw.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you draw 2,
this is an efficiency tool. This is
I know when I have to Keeper of Secrets, then you're just laughing. So.
Yeah, right. I mean, I've got it at B- because I think it's very useful, but I don't know if I would categorize it as that. I don't know if I'd categorize it as even a 4 times in every deck, even a 4 times in most deck.
The fact
Also,
that
because I don't think it's a 4 times. I think getting multiples of these is a real detriment. I think you want 2 of these in your deck.
right, but the fact is that there's not a lot of item clearing cards, right? So there's what, the Steel Beast,
Yeah.
and then there's another item.
There's only one playable item removal card.
Right. So that's
These are-
always gonna. So you're essentially
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the best
To see-
things you can do on turn 2 other than Flynn Rider.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still don't think it's a bomb. So for my rant on this, I'm not going to go into it. Check out the Forbidden Mountain and check out our Battle of the Inks Team Amethyst place on there. Near the end of the video, you'll see my rant on Ursula's Cauldron there. I can't say it any better than that. But I've got it at B-. All right. Last one, sir. Take us home.
Yeah, so it's a 3-cost inkable, White Rabbit's Pocket Watch. I'm late. Exert with 1 ink. Chosen character gains rush this turn.
Specifically, it's an item.
It is an item.
So I have this at a C+.
I also have it at a C plus.
What's that?
I also have it at a C plus.
Nice. So, I mean, it could definitely be impactful, but the biggest problem I have with it is its cost, which means that it's really got to be the late game before you can play it and something else at the same time, which means you've got to take a turn off from doing anything of any sort of impact in the early game to get this out. And I just don't want to do that. I don't want to fall behind on turn 3, 4, 5, you know, if I'm drawing this kind of mid-game. I think that it can definitely help you out in a spot, but an item's got to have some pretty direct impact pretty quickly for me to like it, and this does not.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I still think it's usable, but... All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Amethyst, and we did it under an hour. That is the real star of the show, is us getting through this in under an hour.
Absolutely.
So, thank you so much for tuning in. You'll see in the outro here, we'll have everything up in the rankings. And I hope you enjoyed it. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comment. Disagree, agree, whatever the case may be. And hashtag Team Amethyst, Joe. Even though I think you've come to the conclusion now, based on these, that I don't actually think too highly of a good chunk of Amethyst. but I still
shame. For
still love
shame.
it. Give me that friends on the other side, and you've got me. It was love at first friends.
Yep.
All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's truly an honor to see you enjoying our videos. Thank you to Lorcana.com for having us as one of their featured creators, and thank you to the amazing community coming together around this incredible game. Please like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see on our next video. Until next time, if you'd like to continue with us on this journey, please be our guest.